Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Aiden Ross wins The Voice.
Okay.
This is what I know about him.
Who's Aiden Ross?
I don't watch The Voice. My daughters do, and I know a lot of Aggies watch it because Aiden Ross went to Consolidated.
Okay, well,
and I think he's an A&M student. Cleb, does that sound right? Yes.
Okay, great.
He's an A&M student. So an A&M student won The Voice.
Okay.
Let's see if I can guess this. I'm not trying to do a bit. The Voice is the one with...
That's one where everybody turns around in the chair, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What okay, maybe I don't know.
Like they have 4 judges.
Okay. Are they all?
And they're not looking at the guy singing. If they decide that they like him.
Maroon 5 guy is on there.
Yeah, he used to be.
I think he was.
Adam Levine.
I don't know this, but my wife used to watch that.
Okay. Google search. Who's on The Voice?
The big country guy that was married. Blake Shelton.
That's
he was on there for a while.
Never mind.
He was on there for a while. What were you saying?
I said Luke Bryan.
Is he on there now?
I don't know. I was guessing.
Gwen Stefani, right?
Yeah.
And she married him, right?
Yeah.
Look at this. This is a sports show. Look at this. So shout out to Aiden Ross. Congratulations. That's awesome for the community.
What if A&M had the Voice winner, a volleyball national champion?
Tell me more.
And a playoff victory in football all in the same week.
I think I could sign up for that. I think I'd really like that.
Yeah, we'd love to see that happen.
Yeah. Hey, so...
No offense, but if I had to sacrifice one, it would have been the Voice guy. But hey, but congratulations.
No, congratulations to Aiden Ross. Maybe his family's listening. Shout out to Aiden. Congratulations. That's awesome. So people are reading into Texas A&M social media, A&M football social media pages. Have you seen what they've done?
No.
They've changed, tell me if I'm saying this correctly, their profile to the black unis or the black font, correct?
Their profile pictures are black logos.
So does that mean maybe, OB, they're wearing the blacks, the all blacks and everything on Saturday against Miami?
Yeah, could. You know how I
know you're big about
that.
Uniform guy.
But hey, you know what? I'm to the point now, if it makes you play, if that's what you need, and if it is, it's sad, but if that's what gets you to play at the highest level, then so be it.
I agree. So I think it'll look good. But what matters is the finish. How you play that game. Like how you dress, what you say. I was listening to a Miami podcast this morning on my run, and they really have taken offense to bulletin board material from A&M. Really taken offense. Like very mad that Coach Elko said, what did he say? He called him the little freshman when talking about Malachi Fields. Tony. Yeah. So calling him the little freshman. And also Trey Zune saying he's not really worried.
Well, that's one I anticipated.
And then apparently Marcel backed him up on it. So really taking offense to it. I think it won't make them play better. It'll make their celebration after a good play more. Like, I wanted more now. First playoff game in Miami history. I know they've won national championships. Now we really want it. We kind of wanted it before, but now we really want it.
Yeah, I agree with all that. In fact, I think if bulletin board material is what you need to get ready to play, you're probably not going to play as well as you can. Because what was the old Mike Tyson line, right? Everybody has a plan to get punched in the mouth.
But I'll say this to that, OB. I do believe like the greats find anything to get an edge.
Yeah, but I'm
Michael used to do it.
Yeah, do you think Michael Jordan, when he's playing for an NBA championship, needed bulletin board material, or did he just need the national or the NBA
I don't think he
championship?
needed it, but that's how he got himself to a certain level. You know, when Kobe talks about that Mamba mentality, sometimes it takes something. It's not that you play, but there's a different level of focus. I'm not saying that Miami is going to use it in that way. My point is, I think some legends do whatever it takes to get to a certain level.
I guess it's just always been my thought that you're playing for a championship, and what do you really need more than that? I mean, seriously, is there something that you need more than the fact that there's a championship at stake?
I don't know if it's need more. I think it's
Does it really add? I'm saying if you're playing for the championship, right, your cup should be already full and running over.
I think certain athletes look for whatever thing to get them to that next level.
Maybe.
Michael definitely did. Jerry Rice definitely did. Ronaldo still does. I think Messi does, two of your favorites. Larry Bird did. Like, there's certain legend. But again, I don't know if listening, if you read Trey Zune's comments or you read Elko's comments, you can kind of decipher it however you want. If you listen to it, you kind of know what they're saying.
Well, I know what, or at least I think I know what Trey Zune was trying to say.
Yes.
He was trying to express confidence in his own all offensive line and ability, and he did it we expect these guys to be accomplished public speakers, and they'll say things sometimes that come out not the way they meant it to.
Yep.
But it comes out poorly. And someone else will glom onto that and say, hey, we were disrespected. I get that. I don't get why you would say, hey, a little freshman. A lot of people just would say, little freshman. By the way, the guy's 5'10", I think. So he's not a big guy.
He's not a tall. Well, 5'10" is very tall.
I don't think Mike Elko was trying to disparage anybody
We
at
know.
all.
I mean, he's spoken very highly about him since then.
So, hey, if that's what you need.
How about that little running back, Le'Veon Moss?
Yeah, I'd like to see that little guy out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was out there yesterday.
Yeah, I did see it. I mean,
it was. No, it doesn't mean he's playing, Miami listeners.
Look,
it doesn't mean anything.
Basically, Colin Klein said it'd be great to have that. It's going to be good to have that sledgehammer back.
We'll hear from Colin Klein talking about that exact question here in a minute. But you got to watch him for a few minutes. Anything?
Well, I mean, he was moving well. Of course, when we were out there, he ran out for a couple of passes, and it's really straight line running. So there's no cutting involved. But I'm assuming that he's fine to cut. And it was funny because Elko, all the media, of course, is going over to where the running backs are. And Elko says, "Oh, you guys are so predictable." I yelled at him. I said, "Well, where would you be if you were us?" And then as they go through their line to go out, the next guy go out, and Le'Veon was the next guy up.
Yeah.
And Elko looks over and says, "All right, get your cameras ready."
Well,
I'm just excited to know that Le'Veon Moss is going to be back. Look, Reuben Owens did a fine job. E.J. Smith did a fine job, but your best guy is Le'Veon Moss, and I'm glad that he's going to be out there playing.
I have not watched yet, but our buddy Brooks Austin, the film guy, did a video on how many yards that A&M left out on the field against Texas.
Oh, there was a lot.
Because of some issues running the ball. There was, I think Reuben fell a couple times. Maybe the turf had something to do with that, some of his balance. He's had so many really good games for A&M this season that I'm sure he will bounce back and have a great performance at Kyle Field. But again, coming into this season, I would have told you A&M's, do you remember our 25 and 25? Was he number one? I think he was, right?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would think so.
Yeah.
And, he was an all SEC guy last year, even though, he missed 3 games with injury and still was all SEC. That's how good he is and was.
So your best player coming into the year who has only played half the season, you're getting him back for the playoff run. And, oh, by the way, you've elevated everywhere else, right? Casey Concepcion now could be argued as your best player. You can argue that At times, Marcel Reed was your best player. Cassius Howell, your best defensive player. Or, I mean, you can make some arguments for some other guys. So you've elevated what was your top 5, let's just say, and you're getting the guy that was your number 1. Nick, can you fact check me on that? Was Le'Veon number 1 in the 25 and 25? He was? Okay. Good.
And Mario Craver's healthy again.
Yeah.
So, looks like you're at full strength. So, no excuses. You're at home. You're at full strength. I think you're better tested than Miami just because you play in the SEC and they don't.
Yep.
So you should win. You should go out and play a great game and show you're the better team. And if you're not the better team, well,
darn it.
Start trying to rebuild and be even better next. But I do think I think like in so many games this year, it's really on A&M. Are you going to take care of the ball? Are you going to limit penalties? Are you going to capitalize on opportunities?
So back to that commentary about Miami not being as battle-tested as A&M because they play in the ACC. I talked to a couple of insiders this week who have told me that like Miami's issues isn't playing up to competition. It's when they have to play the lesser competition the last couple of years. The Louisvilles this year, the SMUs this year.
Yeah, but is SMU and Louisville really that much lesser than they are?
Well, it's not Notre Dame. It's not Miami. It's not A&M SEC level team. Those are not SEC level teams.
Okay, but Notre Dame is the only team that they played that wasn't, that. And by the way, and I'm not trying to put down Miami in any way, but I'm just pointing out it was the first game of the season and the first start for a Notre Dame quarterback.
Well, I think what his point is over the last couple of years, if you've seen Miami play,
they play down to competition.
And also, they have beaten A&M in the last couple of years. They've beaten Florida. They've beaten Florida State. Not that those two are the cream of the crop of the SEC, but I guess what the point is, they sometimes play down to their competition and have been known to play up to the competition.
Okay. Well, they're going to have to play up, and I'm sure they will. I don't expect it to be an easy win for either team. I think it's probably going to be a fourth quarter game.
Yep.
And who's going to make? And quite frankly, I'll say this: if it is a fourth quarter game and it comes, down to the final minutes, let's be honest, Miami is going to have an advantage.
Yeah.
Because they have a kicker that's made something like
a
16 of 18.
Hasn't he made a 60-yarder this year or 58-yarder?
I know he has range.
Yeah.
And we all know that whenever A&M lines up for a kick, we're all holding our breath or hiding our eyes. So if you're A&M, you got to make sure it doesn't come down to a kick.
Let's hear from Colin Klein on that Le'Veon Moss, and to what OB said at his point a moment ago, kind of alludes that it's going to be good to have him back. Disregard. Nick's not there.
Okay. Well,
do you remember what he said, though?
Yeah. He said a lot of things, but the thing that really stood out, he says, it's good to have that sledgehammer back in your toolbox or whatever. I don't know if he actually used the word toolbox. But.
Watch this. I can do this. I'm going to clap twice, and it's going to play, because that's what the kind of mind control I have. Ready? 1, 2.
Yeah, I love Lev. Shoot, all of those guys and him, just how he's attacked his rehab, how he's attacked the process through it, and like he always does, head first, so seeing him be able to move around again and feel good about, where he's at and feel comfortable. Obviously really excited for him to be able to finish, truly the way he wants to.
And he's like, good to have that sledgehammer back. And I'm excited for Le'Veon to be out there because I want to see him run through a Miami foe's face.
Yeah. And one of his best bites. By the way, we got a text a moment ago. What's up with Nuño's socks? He's wearing duck camo socks. These aren't duck camo. These are just gray and blue and red.
Oh, yeah, very colorful.
Yeah, that's it. No, there's no camouflage. There's a little argyle, flash gray, and red. Because I know this is a big fashion show. Let's move on topics, shall we? Let's go. Well, let's tell the people what show they're listening to.
This is TexAgs Live.
And we are presented by?
David Gardner's Jewelers.
And we are in the?
Rollo Insurance Studio, and Jason and Jackson and the boys.
That's right. Got to make sure we say hi to the boys. This hour is?
This is the Go Hour, brought to you by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
And we are currently sitting at the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
It's very cool here to hang out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us up. Ross tried to call yesterday, but then I think Coach Morrison came in the studio. Ross, we can always welcome your call, 979-693-1150, or you can text that number. But if you call it, it is the what?
It is the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
Let's go around the room, left to right, to say hi to the people. Behind the glass is Nick Savage. He's been gone for a minute. Nick, welcome back, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all. Glad to be back. It's game week. I feel, I haven't really been thinking too much about football and all that good stuff while I was gone, but I feel like it's a cheat code. I just get dropped in midweek, only 2 days till game day, so I'm excited. But, coming back, I still feel good about the game. Thoughts really haven't changed. I am surprised by the amount of, talking heads that have picked against A&M, which is fine. Obviously, Miami can win this game, but it's weird how many people are picking the road upset in the playoff, which last year there wasn't one. So,
you know why they're picking Miami?
Why is that?
I think there's a couple reasons. A, the most recent stretch for A&M hasn't been their best football. Their most recent stretch for Miami has been their best football. If you just look at, I'm not talking opponents here. I'm talking about scores. Also, I think the fact that Marcel Reed has turned the ball over quite a bit the last 3-4 games, and Carson Beck has not. And A&M, what are they, a -7 in turnover ratio?
Yeah. I think if you look at, I know with the SMU game, I'm pretty sure that Beck had a couple of interceptions.
One of the games this year he had 4, didn't he?
And did they lose that?
Yeah.
Louisville. So when he turns the ball over, and he's subject to, they struggle or lose. So that's something to look for, except A&M doesn't force turnovers.
They don't.
Especially interceptions.
They haven't done that all season long.
You can always change it in a game, but those are the indicators you're going to look at. And so I understand why, if you're just trying to pour over stats, why you say, oh, well, this looks like a Miami win to me. I would just contend that, like I said, A&M has been more tested, and your stats. And again, this some more bulletin board material from Miami, but it's true. The stats should be good when you're playing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Miami has played 3 teams, the bottom 3 teams in the country in pass defense.
Yeah.
Number 34, 35, and 36, plus a lot of others that just aren't very good. Now, they play some good ones, too.
I brought that up with the insiders that I was talking to, and they're like, yeah, you're right, except Carson Beck has SEC experience and has played well enough in the SEC, so that shouldn't alarm him all of a sudden playing against A&M's defense.
All right, now, you'll know that I've said this last year, so while I was at Georgia, I said, yeah, Carson Beck, and he's a good quarterback. I personally, Olin Buchanan saying this, Mike Elko would tell me I'm crazy. I don't think he's as good as his reputation is. I think he was great at Georgia, and you'll remember me saying this when he had Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey and a really good offensive line and a nice running game. But remember when Brock Bowers and McConkey were no longer there, he was still good, but he wasn't like Heisman Trophy caliber good anymore.
Yeah.
But he has a heck of a wide receiver to work with right now.
He does. And the other reason people have said that many believe this is the best team A&M has played all season long. Okay? Now,
might be.
They did beat Notre Dame at home, but they did beat Notre Dame. They have a very good defensive line, probably the best defensive line A&M has faced.
Maybe.
Very good offensive line statistically. They got a guy, I think their left tackle is 6'9". It's a ridiculous size dude. They don't give up a lot of sacks. So where they have struggled is in running lanes. But apparently they don't give up a lot of sacks. They're very good at protecting Carson Beck.
And I'm sure they are. I would wonder, once again, I haven't done a deep dive into that part yet, but I would wonder how accomplished the pass rushers are for the teams they face. Because let's face it, they have played a lot of bad teams. I mean, if you want to, let's look at both ways. A&M gets constantly criticized for their schedule. True or false?
100% true.
I would contend that A&M has played a stronger schedule than Miami has.
I would as well. As for sacks, I'm trying to see how many sacks Miami had.
I think they've only given up 8 or something like that? 9?
Notre Dame had
Maybe
1 sack against Miami.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's check in at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center before we say hi to Kay Naegeli. Hey, Sid.
Hello.
Club Sid there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. What's up,
Good
Club
morning. Going back to open practice, y'all talked about Le'Veon getting some reps in. I have just 2 numbers for you guys. So I thought this was interesting. The average number of rushing yards per game in the first 6 games when Moss was playing was 193 yards. And then the last 6 when he hasn't been playing is 192. So just one difference. So Owen
But it
tomorrow,
looks harder, right? Doesn't it feel like it takes a little bit longer to get going? Or am I remembering wrong?
No. I think guys like Ruben Owens came in. I just don't think they were as consistent. I'll give you an example why. A lot of that yardage that she's talking, that in the last half of the year, you think about Ruben Owens having some long runs late against Missouri, or some long runs late against Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then of course do whatever you want to against Samford. I just think that A&M was more consistently productive as a running game before.
Yeah.
That maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's the way it feels to me.
I agree with you. Let's hit a break. We'll check in with Kay Naegeli, traveling Kay Naegeli with Callie Garner. Right now, though, 1775.
1775. Up in Kansas City, they think they have good barbecue.
They just got Q. They don't have barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's good. Kansas City has good barbecue. I've been there. I've had it. I like it. It's good. But 1775 has great barbecue. They got the best it's Texas barbecue.
Yeah.
And they take Texas barbecue to another level.
That's exactly right. And by the way, we have a Canes fan with a 4 in there who's on the YouTube page going to 1775 on Friday when he gets to town.
Okay, get there early, Canes fan, because it'll sell out. So try to be there when they're open up. And I'm telling you, get some of that succulent brisket, but do not pass up the jalapeno cheese sausage. It's amazing. And I'm not a big sausage guy, but that's amazing. And if you like ribs, those pork ribs are great. And if you're like Dave and you're really more calorie conscious, you'll love the turkey. That smoked turkey is amazing.
But what about the queso mac and cheese?
But you got to have the queso mac and cheese.
Yeah, you don't go to 1775 and skip it.
You don't. They have other sides, and they're good. I've had the potatoes because one time I was there, and they were out of the...
Right.
And they had
loved it.
Loaded potato, and the mashed potatoes were great. But the queso mac and cheese, you got to have it with that succulent brisket and that jalapeno cheese. You get a lot of cheese there. Jalapeno cheese sausage. I'm telling you, I recommend it highly.
979-492-6241. Check out the website, 1775TX.
And it's good.
BBQ.com. Is what he just said.
Yeah.
It's good. Back here on TexAgs Live, we are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our ace reporter, Kay Naegeli, is in Kansas City. Kay and Callie took off yesterday. How's the trip so far?
It's been good. We got here actually pretty late last night. So it wasn't great in that regard. Traveling is always, hold on, I'm having some connection issues.
You sound great.
Anyways, traveling was all right. We got here around 9 o'clock last night and we left the office at about 11:30. So long day, but glad to be got some good food last night and ready to go this morning.
I was talking to somebody yesterday who would know, and they're like, the volleyball team before the Nebraska game, they were very relaxed, focused. There was another game earlier this year where they were maybe not frazzled, but maybe not as calm and collect as they were with their biggest test of the year. What do you think that says about them, Kay, that the way their season has gone, and it's been mostly a very positive season, right? Very, very small little dips in the road, that game in particular at their home, a place that they were 33-0, they hadn't lost since, 2021, I think their home record was, that they were able to be calm going into it and then calm going into the fifth set.
Yeah, I think it speaks to everything Morrison's built. We saw the kind of sneak preview of what Morrison said to them pregame, and it was interesting because to a lot of national media and specifically Nebraska fans, it kind of came off a little bit cocky, but then they went up and backed it up. And I think it's really cool when you look at the way that Morrison motivates his athletes. There can kind of be a weird little with having a male coach and coaching a female team, it can be like, oh, you aren't supposed to say these super harsh things. You aren't supposed to tell them to go kick butt, things like that. But I think the way that he motivates the team is very unique. And I think they like that fiery approach. They really feed into that. So that was just a product of what we saw. Again, yeah, they played great volleyball all year, led by obviously the Stars. But again, that was where their season also ended last year. So they didn't want on that same court to have the same result. And ultimately, they were able to not make that happen.
You've been covering volleyball and you know this team well. So what can you go into this game against Pitt? What can you just almost take for granted that they'll do well? And what do you look and think, now that the national championship's on the line, they might need to do this a little better?
Yeah, I think the last game, what I wanted to see a little bit more is going to the middles. In that fourth and fifth set, Maddie Walk went away from it a little bit. If you look at the numbers, there's pretty big discrepancy. She set the outside 93 times and only set the middle 22 times. So I think that was also a product of Kendall getting hot. Emily also had a great game. But you have a Fenna Kozapala in the middle who you quick setter. Same with Morgan Perkins. She probably had her best outing as Aggie. That's an easy kill right there, in my opinion. And especially they were hitting around Nebraska's block. Andy Jackson is one of the best blockers in the country, and she was a non-factor. So I think going to the middle is going to be something that the Aggies are really going to have to go back to. And it's honestly something, setting the middle is such an exciting part of the game of volleyball because it's so quick, right? Your timing has to be absolutely perfect. And if that's something they can succeed at, ultimately it is definitely a part of the game that you could take for granted a little bit because it's so spectacular.
Okay, I'm going to do something that's going to upset people. I'm going to look at next year. What do you think this run is doing for recruiting? Because he's already recruiting at a very high level, but I'm sure his phone's ringing off the hook, transfer portal / high school kids wanting to come to Texas A&M to be a part of this.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously with football, the transfer portal window got moved. That is not the case with volleyball. It is very much open right now. So that makes it a little difficult for these teams that are still playing and trying to balance. They just got back from Nebraska. They have a 48-hour turnaround. The portal is open, and you're trying to get athletes on campus. You're trying to host them. And then, of course, you turn around and head to Kansas City. So I think what the good thing about it is with these national broadcasts, some of the results are speaking for themselves, right? Jamie doesn't have to go sell what this program is about. He can say, hey, we play it this time, turn on the TV and see the product of this team, see the fight that we have in the locker room, see the hurdles that we can overcome. So it's really cool to see it almost speak for itself. The growth of this program has been very well documented over the last 3 years since Morrison's been here. He's just been such a game changer. And so you don't really have to sell the sizzle too much. It's speaking for itself, and it's been really cool to see.
Okay, since we're bringing up things that nobody wants to hear talked about, as we know, in football, unfortunately, baseball, basketball, when we've seen teams have success, other teams around the country notice it too. And what do? They come and try to take your coaches. So how do you feel about Coach Morrison and his
long-term,
his longevity here?
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it, because A&M historically, this is the farthest they've ever been, right, in the Final Four. Not a national powerhouse with some of these other names, like the Wisconsins and Nebraskas, and a lot of the teams in the Big Ten. The really cool thing that I have taken away from Morrison's time here is I truly do think he loves it here. He talked a little bit about on the show yesterday. Jen Woods is an assistant of his, and she graduated from here. And they were talking, and he was like, "How cool for you to bring back something so cool for a place that you love." And I think that just says a lot about who he is as a person. He loves competing. He'll tell you that right off the bat, every single opportunity he gets. And I think Texas A&M is just a culmination of whenever he came here, he knew the things that were possible, and it is coming to fruition. He did speak it into existence. I think we could have things in the future, like how Nebraska had the volleyball game at their football stadium, like things like that could be a possibility at Texas A&M. That's why, and he knew that coming in, and I think he will probably try to see all of that through.
Okay, we'll check in with you tomorrow. I know you have a practice here. There's an open practice a little bit, right?
Yes. Yep. Open practice today. We'll have a bunch of media availability. Check out some of the other teams. We'll get to watch Pitt, and Olivia Babcock is their star outside hitter. So gonna check her out and check out Kansas City, and enjoy down up here, I guess.
Enjoy, Kay. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Kay Naegeli there on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. OB, did you know that Christmas is coming up?
I did know.
Okay, just making sure. I just didn't know if you need to check your
In
calendar.
fact, I'll be taking that long ride down to the Rio Grande Valley.
Okay, well, I think I'm just going to, as a friend, buddy advice, it's good to come with gifts for Christmas.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And I think, like, dudes don't usually think about, like, clothes for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you use it but, like, if you went to duckcamp.com and you used the code TexAgs25, got 25% off.
25% off.
Bro, like, I talked to Dr. Mike yesterday, Reyes.
Yeah.
And iDoc Mike, and he took advantage of it. Got himself a bunch of clothes. He was wearing some duck camp yesterday.
If you're a smart person, that makes sense, because you can get high quality, very popular clothes. That I'm wearing one right now.
You're wearing it.
And if this can make me look good, imagine what it can do for you.
Well, it makes you look
presentable.
It just makes you look. Yeah.
Imagine what it can, and you can get this look for 25% off.
Here's the deal. You know this about me. I'm quite frugal. My family calls me cheap. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So sometimes I'll buy something that's $12 instead of buying something that's $40, and maybe the $40 one would last you a lot longer.
Oh,
okay?
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
No, that's not the case with this.
First time you get it cheap because you get 25%
quality
off. You wear it over and over.
Yeah, I wish I could take 25% off of my weight.
You can.
Everybody wants to take 25% off of everything.
Yeah, but I can help you with that, by the way.
Yeah. Can you help me with 25% off my duck camp?
Yeah, just put duck camp 25 or TexAgs 25. Sorry, almost ruined it for you. It is duckcamp.com, built for the outdoors. And why did I use that accent?
I don't know.
What was that?
I don't know. It sounded like
built for the outdoors.
It's a cross between Lucci and Zane. You're kind of like an Italian Jew.
Hey now, and designed for everything else. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe. Whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. When Cougars were dudes.
John Cougar, before he was a Mellencamp. I mean, he was always Mellencamp, but he wasn't known. He was just, when that song came out, he was just John Cougar.
What was it, Theodore Mellon? What was his name on Back to School?
Yeah, Thornton.
Thornton Mellon.
Thornton Mellon.
The Triple Ending.
The Triple Ending. What a great movie that was.
That's a fantastic movie.
That's like that was excellent.
Have you ever seen? No, there's no chance.
No.
No chance that Nick has ever seen Back to School. Have you, Nick?
Nope.
I mean, when I say like a classic, iconic film.
Yeah, that was awesome.
70-year-old Rodney Dangerfield, might have been 50, but he looked 70.
Yeah, he looked 70 when he was probably 20.
Right. He went back to college, all right? So it'd be like me joining the Twins at A&M next year.
To hang out with his son, right?
Yeah, to hang out with his son, but he's super rich and has parties and sleeps with the professor.
That's what I call marine biology.
Great movie. Sorry for the kids listening. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. By the way, as a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Obie, let's hear from Jay Bateman. Okay?
Let's do.
Maybe we'll get into the bite. I had Nick combine the bite from Jay and Colin talking about the dual roles that they have right now. But I want to fast forward to some football talk, like not off the field talk, the actual football talk. Yeah. One of the things that Jay Bateman was very impressed by Miami is they don't turn the ball over. Here's the outgoing defensive coordinator on that.
Ball security is really good. I think the running backs do a really good job with that. And then I think when they have turned the ball over, it's been in the past game. So I think like when we have our chances there, when the ball gets tipped, when it is overthrown, we've got to take advantage of that. I think that was against Texas that got us a couple times. Right, we had a couple chances to intercept the ball and didn't. So when we get those opportunities, we got to make them count. And obviously, I think you have to affect the quarterback. We've been able to affect the quarterback. I think that's going to be really important in this game is when we have our chance to affect the quarterback, we affect him, and then if a mistake's made, we take advantage of it.
Yeah. I mean, again, every coach will tell you, and we talked about this maybe as recently as last week, every coach will tell you that turnovers is the most telling stat when it comes out to between a win and a loss.
Yep.
And it's one of the most, I don't want to say bizarre, surprising aspects of this season is that A&M is 11-1 and really doesn't force a lot of turnovers.
Right. I'm trying to figure out the why behind it. Like, is it because I feel like Will Lee and Des Ricks have done a really nice job at that position, and I know that it goes beyond cornerbacks, but I'm just like, and I had Justin in the back kind of give me some stats because I'm thinking to myself, how's A&M done against some really good wide receivers? Cam Coleman's the one that always pops up, but every team has an ace receiver. How's A&M done? And I had him kind of go through it. And against UTSA, if you even want to go far that far back, Devin McEwen had 6 receptions, 33 yards. Brady Boyd had 6 catches for 87 yards. Malachi Fields for Notre Dame had 77 yards. Greathouse had a couple big catches in that game. You had Cam Coleman 4 catches for 18 yards. You had Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State with 54 yards.
One late touchdown.
Yeah, you're right. Dallas Wilson for Florida had a nice game against A&M. 6 receptions, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lee was not on coverage on one of those touchdowns. You had Omega Blake, 7 catches, 118 yards.
Good player.
Great, really good game there. And on that touchdown, Lee was not in coverage. Barian Brown, 4 receptions, 60 yards. Let's see what else I have here. Aaron Anderson, 5 receptions, 59 yards. You had Nick Harbor, who had that ridiculous touchdown. Lee was not in coverage on that play. He had 3 catches, 102 yards, including the 80-yard touchdown. You had South Carolina, Jacobs, 4 catches, 64 yards. He did score his touchdown on Will Lee.
And then Wingo,
4 catches, 34 yards.
Including a touchdown.
Yeah. And no one was near on that.
Typically, it's one big play.
Yeah.
Like Harbor was one big play. Wingo was one big play.
Yeah.
Typically.
And the Wingo one was a complete breakdown.
Hey, I wonder if that Dallas Wilson guy is going to be interested in
pursuing other opportunities?
Yeah.
Anybody who's good and a good person, come on down. Come on. Be a good person, work hard, score a lot of touchdowns. Come on down.
Yeah, I'd like to see that guy in the maroon and white or black and white, depending on, the jerseys they're going to decide to wear.
But back to that commentary on, I don't think it's They have very good players. They have a good scheme. They don't get thrown on that much. Why don't they force turnovers?
Well, quite frankly, I can think of several times when they just dropped them.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I think they only have 3 interceptions all year, if I'm not mistaken, and only one's by a DB.
Yeah.
Because Scooby had one against Notre Dame where he hurt his knee.
Yeah.
And then I want to think Damian Sanford had one against somebody.
He did. He did.
And then the other
that might have been the game. Was that?
And then Dalton Brooks had one against South Carolina. Returned it to the 6th, and A&M didn't score. You got to take advantage of your opportunities because there may not be a ton of opportunities. That's what killed them against Texas. They had opportunities, but they didn't cash in.
And it could have killed them against South Carolina.
It could have.
Right?
Or it could have kept the game from being, so dramatic.
And when A&M wasn't turning the ball over a lot, because there was a stretch, they weren't, right?
Mm-hmm.
These games weren't close.
Hard to beat them.
Yeah.
If it's difficult to beat A&M if A&M is not contributing to their own demise.
You're exactly right. Yep. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Colin Klein and Jay Bateman about their dual roles. Right now, we're talking about Guarantee Bank and Trust. They've been with TexAgs now for a little over a week. They're awesome. Established back in 1913, so they've got over 100 years of experience, and they're here in the Bryan College Station market. They have 3 convenient locations around the BCS. Brandon Sears, he's an Aggie. He's running the Bryan College Station team. He's the market president. He's fantastic. 33 locations across Texas, but when you go to Guarantee Bank and Trust, you're going somewhere that feels local because they are local. They are just a Texas bank, and they are a hometown bank, and you're going to get that. They're growing stronger in their communities because they want to help this community prosper, and they've been doing that for a long time. Every decision is shaped by their community values, and they grow stronger with it, with exceptional relationship-focused banking tailored to support people who live here and work here. You want to check them out. Remember, Brandon Sears is in this market. He's an Aggie. He's going to take amazing care of you. And they invite listeners to go check out Brandon and experience a true Texas community bank. The website is www.gnty.com. That is gnty.com. Guarantee Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Seen a lot of chatter about A&M's, 2 coordinators moving on, and I get it. There's other programs that this happens to too. By the way, usually when you're a really good program, this happens. It's happened to Kirby
Georgia
before. It's happened to Bama before.
Sure.
It's happening to Oregon right now.
Oregon as we speak, right? So this is not. I understand the question. Now, here's the thing: if you look horrible against Miami, then it is a thing. Then you wonder, I guess, were they really that focused? I don't question people's. I feel like they're going to get the job done. For them, it's better for A&M to win. It's better for A&M to win a national championship so they can take that to their next stop and say, hey, I'm a national championship offensive coordinator, not taking over this program or defensive coordinator.
Well, obviously Colin Klein's got the head coaching job at his alma mater, so he's going to take that without a doubt. We get that. That makes sense. Nobody's going to hold that against him. But Colin Klein is also a competitor, and he's invested in this team. So I give him credit that he's not the Lane Kiffin type of guy that'll bail. Yeah. He says, hey, he probably told the guys at Kansas State, look, I mean, I don't know that he said this. I'm guessing because I think I know him a little bit, and I think this kind of guy, he said, look, I want this job. No, there's nothing I want more than to be the head coach at Kansas State.
But I had to win.
But I've got to finish this job here.
Yep.
And they probably said, yeah, well, that's fine.
Nick,
John Sumrall.
Yeah, same thing. Nick, do we have time to run the soundbite? No, we don't have time.
I'm sorry, I talked too much.
No, it's okay. We had a soundbite but basically they're both saying they're focused on winning for A&M. That's the job. That's what they're trying to do. And I forget, I think it was maybe Jay who said that at night he works on
make
his Kentucky
some calls.
Duties. Right.
Yeah, when he gets home. But his work day is all focused on A&M.
By the way, when I left, I do this comparison sometimes, and I apologize, but I'm just trying to relate it to real life. When I left 13, I knew I was going to leave. I think I knew I was going to leave in February. I lasted until June 26, I think it was. And
you did your job?
And I did. And I came up here several times to meet with clients and sponsors and with Billy and Brandon. You can do both. There's enough time if you have your priorities and you're organized to do a lot of things in life. You don't have to just check a box and move on.
Yeah. I mean, same. When I left the American Statesman, I still had work to do. As long as I was getting paid by that employer, I was going to give that employer the best I had.
Thank you, OB.
Yep.
We'll be back with John Harris here, and thank you to Holistic Planning for letting us hang out in the cool zone. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find our good friend, John Harris. Johnny, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing all right, David. Surviving the rain. But other than that, doing okay, man. How you doing?
I'm good. You came up yesterday on the show and the chat.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it was good. It was good. So somebody had asked if I had ever played basketball. I forgot how it came up. Like, but have you ever run intramural basketball? I was like, bro, I've won media 3-on-3 tournaments with, and I posted a picture, and everyone was like, is that Raheel? Is that John Harris? I was like, yes, right. We won a bunch of media championships in Houston because we're cool like that.
Yeah, we were like the Rockets in 94, 95. Yeah. We had it going on, and Raheel would carry us from a scoring perspective. I would fight and get some rebounds and play all the big guys, and you would lock up on defense. And that was pretty much how we won championships.
We did. Raheel's a ridiculous basketball player. Hey,
yeah, he's great.
Johnny, the more prep I do on Miami, I am more convinced. So let me tell you my train of thought. My train of thought initially was like, all right, hey, Miami, they're a good team. They got a lot of talent, but they play in the ACC, right? Like, they haven't played what A&M has played. And while that might be true, I keep doing this research, and I'm seeing the level of athletes and the level of play that they've been doing, regardless of the opponent, and the eyeball test makes me say, like, this team is better than I was giving them initial credit for. How do you kind of feel about Miami and the eyeball test?
Well, I think the eyeball test for Miami is, what was it? Gabriel Iglesias, he said there was 3 levels of large. There was fat, then there was fluffy, then there was damn. That's kind of the way you look at when you see Miami Hurricanes when they run on a field. You're like, damn, like they've got some stud athletes. When you see Ruben Bain up close, you're like, God dang. Then you see Akeem Mesidor, and those guys have been playing together for 3 years. You see Carson Beck throw the football, you're like, well, that's pretty looking. Malachi Toney, like, oh man, holy smokes. Francis Marianoa. I mean, they've got tremendously long corners. They've got size. It's an impressive looking athletic unit. But then you go, wait a second, Louisville beat them. SMU beat them. So they're in SMU beat them on the road in Dallas. And Miami that day did not look good. Now, they've gotten it back together. They're playing better football. Part of it is Carson Beck not turning the ball over. Carson Beck taking responsibility for the way that he's playing as opposed to pushing it off on coaches and whomever else he did after the SMU loss. But basically what they did offensively was, hey, 10, we're going to throw you the ball. Okay, I got it. And then they just got the ball to Malachi Toney any way they could, and they kind of took off from there. Now, they've got some nice complementary pieces to Toney, but if I'm the defensive staff and I walk in and go, okay, what's our to-do list against Miami? It's number 1 is 10. Number 2 is slow down 10. And number 3 is minimize 10's impact, because 10 is the offense for Miami, if I'm being brutally honest. Like I said, I think they got decent pieces elsewhere, but I don't think they can run on A&M unless A&M just has complete breakdown in run defense, run fits, etc. I think outside of Malachi Toney, I don't know that anybody else really is like, I don't know. But 10 makes the biggest difference, and that's going to be, to me, the biggest challenge, because he might be the best athlete on either side of the ball with everything he's able to do for Miami's offense. That said, Miami's offense can go into a funk at any point. So to me, it's going to be imperative that Marcel not turn the ball over, just get points. Even if it's, you drive down, you get 3. You get 3 another time when you feel like you maybe should have gotten 7. But it's imperative just keep putting 3 up on the board at a minimum, because then you put the pressure on Carson Beck. And I think if that's the case, then I feel like Carson Beck is going to throw you one, and the game's going to disintegrate from Miami at that point. But if you let Carson Beck get hot and he starts getting in a rhythm, then Carson Beck can throw A&M out of the game with what he's able to do. But he's streaky, and that can be a problem either way for Miami or A&M. So he's not going to hurt you with his legs a lot. So he's going to be where you expect him to. So Cassius has got to have a big game. And I'm curious whether Cassius will go against Maui Noah or go against the tackle on the other side. And if he goes against the tackle on the other side, they got to give him help. and that could take a receiver out of the ball game for Miami, and that's kind of what you want. So it's going to be a hell of a ball game. I think of the 4 matchups, this is the best one, way above Alabama, Oklahoma, and then the other 2 are just, you'll get through 60 minutes so Oregon and Ole Miss can move on. So I think this is the game of the weekend, and I think it's going to be kind of no bare knuckle brawl, not holding back. And if A&M doesn't turn the ball over, I think you come out of there with a win.
Johnny, this is not a fair question because you're going to have to think, but you're very good thinking. So I'm going to ask you a couple of easy ones. Who do you think has been the best offense A&M has played this year? Is it Arkansas potentially? Is it like who do you think's been maybe it's Notre Dame? Who's the best, most explosive offense, or just the best offense?
Notre Dame.
Okay. Who is the best defense A&M has faced?
Probably Texas in the second half, at least.
Okay.
Probably Texas.
Okay. Who's the most balanced team Texas A&M has played?
For 30 minutes, it was Texas. Probably Notre Dame, I would imagine. I'd say Notre Dame.
So now that we've laid that out, does Miami have a better offense? Does Miami have a better defense than what we just laid out?
I just think it's a little different. It's different. It's constructed differently. Notre Dame's offense is going to be a lot about, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price and running the football. I just don't think Miami. I don't think Miami has a shot of running the ball effectively. If I'm being honest, I don't think they do. I think Mark Fletcher's a decent running back, but I just don't see it. So they got to throw the ball, and that means Malachi Toney. Now, the thing about that is no player A&M has faced this year that I can think off the top of my head is as explosive as Toney. And I think he's going to put more pressure on the A&M secondary than anybody they've faced this year. So it's different. As I like to say, it's an emphasis on a different syllable. You know what I mean? Like Texas was going to be a little different offensively in the way they did things. Arch ran the football, which gave them a different element. This offense for Miami is just different. They got a rock star tackle that's going to give pass protection. Toney is, like I said, a million times has been tremendous. It's just a different way of going about it. Now, Miami's defense will fly around, and they've had moments this year where they've looked really, really good. But they've also had moments where you can do whatever you want against them. They're kind of an inconsistent unit, but I think their coordinator, Corey Heatherton, is really, really good. And I think you give him a couple of weeks, he's going to have something for Marcel. And I think that is going to be a little bit of kind of the second round of a boxing match. Like, all right, let's feel this out a little bit. Does he want to blitz? Does he want to, sim pressure? How does he want to go about this? Does he just want to rush 4? Because he's got 2 good rushers on the outside in Mesidor and Bain. How does he want to go about this? So I think it's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process. But I think you can put Miami near those categories of best team that A&M has faced, best offense, best period of defense. I think you can put Miami in that club for sure. And I think they have the best combination of offense and defense that A&M has seen this year. So that's the biggest thing. Look, if they had the best offense, there'd be one thing in a crappy defense, or vice versa. But they're good on both sides of the ball. They're just not maybe better than what A&M has seen on either side of the ball in one game. But I do think that they are good on both sides, and that makes it a challenge for obviously both sides of the ball.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, Johnny, I'm watching the Texas game, and look, there were a lot of issues in that game, obviously. Props to the way Texas adjusted in the second half. But with all that, they had a chance to win the game, in my opinion, or at least make the fourth quarter more interesting than it ended up being, because there were some plays to be had, some turnovers at the end. I'm curious what you think, how that game feels differently if Le'Veon plays, with the lens of he looks like he might play against Miami, and what difference that could be.
Well, I think it's a massive difference because when a guy steps on a field, I'll give you my example. Daniel Jones of the Colts. We went up to Indy. Daniel Jones, at that point, as it was noted, had a fibula. And like, that's weird because you never see a bone really as an injury. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go watch him during pregame and see how he's moving, because I got a feeling how he's moving against our defense is probably going to determine how they attack us, what they do. Because if he can't move, then the passing game's got to be the quick game, or they got to take shots. It's quick game or shots, because he can't sit back there. He can't get out of the pocket. So I watch him in warmups, and I'm like, nah, he's not moving. We got it. We got it. We're going to be okay. He's not going to beat us running the ball. So it really was Daniel Jones back there kind of gutting it out. But he couldn't move. But, man, he dropped dimes at like 3 different times in that game to make that game a whole lot closer than it should have been. And at some point, you almost forgot, okay, he can't move back there. You kind of forgot about it. I think it's the same with Le'Veon. I think even if he's 85, 90, whatever percentage he is, I think Miami is going to have to treat him like, man, it's not like he's, we can kind of be sloppy in what we do. We have to attack him like he's the Le'Veon Moss we know. So I do think, even though Le'Veon might be like, man, I can't move, but I got to play, it's just the threat of Le'Veon ends up being pretty real. Now, once you get in the game, Miami might see like, okay, he can't cut, he can't do this. They might have to make adjustments, but they got to do it on the spot. They got to do it right there, and that's difficult to do as opposed to taking 3-4 days or 2 weeks or whatever it's been to prepare. So I do think Miami's going to have to kind of feel out for them, but I think for A&M, they can use it to their advantage. First time Le'Veon's in the game, what's Miami going to do? They're going to point back there and go, hey, Moss. And what do you do at that point? You play action, you throw right behind those linebackers. We did that. I can't remember what game it was, but Nick Chubb had gone into the game. I think it was the Bills. And I watched both linebackers point at Nick Chubb like, hey, he's getting the ball. And we stuck a play action slant right behind him. And I think you can, I don't want to say use Moss as a decoy, but whatever percentage he is, the Aggies are going to know they're not. And so from that standpoint, the Aggies can kind of game plan around that. And maybe Le'Veon starts the game at like 75, 80%, but he's gutting it out. But maybe he starts to feel better as the game goes on, and all of a sudden, maybe he catches Miami off guard. He gets the ball, they're lazy because they think it's the injured Le'Veon. All of a sudden, he's got a little bit of his juice back, and he gives them a big run. And look, all it takes is for Le'Veon to pop a chunk play, and that place is going to go ballistic. And that's really what they need. They need that place to be rocking. And if he provides one of those plays, just one, then that place will go crazy. Last year, when Notre Dame played Indiana, Jeremiah Love had been hurt. He ripped off like a 96-yard run, and that gave Notre Dame all the juice they wanted in that game. They had everything after he gave them that run. And really, Jeremiah was hurt that entire playoff run. But he would come in and give them a little bit here, a little bit there. He basically gave what he had. And that was such a boost. I never like to say, hey, man, you're injured or you're hurt. You got to fight through it. Because especially with running backs, you just, a hurt running back going 50, 60%, it's worse than going 80, 90%, whatever it might be. But if you could just get a little bit, that is worth its weight in gold, especially this week against that defense.
John, what do you think? Like, Marcel, we've seen Marcel at a very high level this year. That's why he was in the Heisman conversation until the very end. Towards the end, a little bit more turnovers, which obviously derailed his Heisman campaign and A&M going to the SEC championship game. Did something change with him, in your opinion, or have defenses evolved, or maybe it's just a combination of things? Trying to do too much, injuries at the wide receiver spot. What did you see?
Yeah, I think it's easy to look at a guy and think he's pressing a little bit too much. I thought one of the things, especially, Texas, you could see, just pushing him off his spots a little bit. Now, Marcel does a pretty good job in throwing the ball on the run. He's that kind of quarterback. He can do that. But it just felt like, the accuracy's off a little bit. And I'll say this. After you've played, I guess that was the 12th game, right? After you've played 9, 10, and I think this is the thing that people don't understand when they start comparing different conferences, in college football. Marcel does run. He's going to take hits. The body starts to break down a little bit. And you think about carrying the ball. If you're right-handed, a lot of times you carry the ball in your right hand. And so people are hitting at it. They're chopping at it. The body does not feel good once you get to week 11, week 12. And so if you're a quarterback, your body's not feeling good, no matter what body part it ends up being, you're probably not as accurate as you were earlier in the season. You're probably not on point as you were earlier in the season because the body hasn't really started to feel all those games in the SEC of physical punishment. And I think that starts taking a toll. And so your arm slot drops maybe just a little bit because, man, his shoulder's been, banged up or he's been hit on the arms or, the legs aren't working quite like they did early on. And so it's just a little bit off for the fine-tuned machine, the Italian sports car that doesn't run as well when one widget is off. And I kind of feel like that happened to Marcel just over the year. It started feeling like he was starting to break down physically a little bit, just enough that would throw off his accuracy, and then he started getting a little bit too much pressure in that Texas game. And second half just kind of went to what. I think getting rest, having a couple weeks off, if not more, I think not playing in the SEC championship game, as crazy as that sounds, I think it might have been the best thing that happened for all of the Aggie offense, defense, whatever. Yes, it would have been great to play an SEC championship, win it, get a bye, then move on to, whatever, the Cotton Bowl or whatever it's going to be at that point. But I feel like either way, they needed some time. After playing the SEC, you need some time to recover from that brutal season. You don't need that time in the ACC. The Big Ten, maybe, it's close to the SEC, but you don't need that time in the Big 12. You do need it from the SEC. I see guys all the time that, I was at the Lombardi Award. You can just kind of see it, guys kind of shuffling around like Cassius, man. It's a long season in the SEC. You get beat up. You need time to recover. And I think Marcel, with this time to recover, I think that'll manifest itself in a strong performance against Miami.
Johnny, last thing before we let you go. What about the Texans? What is it, 6 in a row? They look like they're in a very good position for the playoffs. What has changed and what's the outlook?
Yeah, I think it's mentality, really. I mean, I just think it's confidence. They got the mentality they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. And I think that's the biggest thing they got going right now is they think they can beat anybody. Obviously, the defense is playing out of its mind. But the offense is starting to come along. And I think that's, we've been waiting for it. We got all these young dudes, and they're starting to come around. And then Jawar Jordan had a great game the other day. So it's starting to come together. But like I said, for the SEC, you play a 12-game season, man. You're beat up. I mean, we're going into week 16, so this is the 15th game. I mean, dudes are beat up. I mean, really beat up. So you got to kind of fight through that, and hopefully they'll do that and be able to play well on Sunday afternoon against the Raiders.
Johnny, I appreciate it, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, love you, man. See you, bud.
Love you, bro. That's John Harris on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. I mentioned about Johnny helping us win that basketball tournament with Raheel. The guy who kind of constructed that whole group together, Chance McClain. That's right. He was the program director at 1560. He's the one who introduced me to Raheel, and we became lifelong friends. He's the one who introduced me to John Harris. We became lifelong friends. We all worked together. Chance put it together. Chance, he starts cultures. He starts businesses. He starts, relationships. He's amazing at doing that. He does these documentary films at Heritage Films because that's his passion, telling people stories. Right now, you may have heard he's in Africa telling somebody's story. He's going to be there for a couple of weeks. Like, he does these high-level films for all types of people. Yeah, you're talking about the super high executives. You're talking about the mom and pop shops. You're talking about the family business, the family ranch. Chance is a wizard at telling people stories, and he's been doing it now for a few years. He loves telling Aggie stories because typically Aggies like to share their history more than anybody. Like that, if you just ask him, his roster of clients are mostly Aggies. That's what Chance does. It is yourheritagefilm.com, the website, yourheritagefilm.com. Call him up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. The right stuff here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Max Wright joining us. What's up, Max?
Morning. Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Just living the dream. Ready for college football to be rolling with these bowl games. I'm excited.
Well, we're going to get into that. But first, I saw your tweets, my friend. You were a bit, like everybody, like America. Everybody was watching the volleyball match. Just how pumped were you for that?
Oh man, it was awesome. I was watching it with my wife, who's a former volleyball player. Some of y'all may know her by the name Mallory Talbert, who's now Mallory Wright. So getting to watch that with her and just experience that was so much fun. She still is connected with some of those girls, and it's just the things that program is doing, and getting to watch that incredible slugfest of a match. Man, that was awesome to see. Yeah, I mean, it was. I saw last night that it was the most watched regional final on record in history for college volleyball. It's 1.2 million viewers, and to go out there and beat a team like Nebraska, who, I mean, they're the juggernaut of volleyball, is how everyone sees them. And they didn't get lucky. They went out there and went toe to toe and came out and beat them on their court. It was an incredible match. This team is so resilient, and man, they're one of the grittiest teams that in any sport. I think that they're one of the grittiest teams out there. I mean, they just fight and they don't quit. So I'm pulling for the volleyball girls, man. I'm hoping they go out there and win tomorrow, and then ultimately win this weekend. They get a A&M national championship.
Paying attention to the show The Voice at all?
Yeah.
Aiden Ross?
Last night too. Yeah, Aiden Ross. Yes, sir.
Do you know him by any chance?
I do not, no. But man, Aggies are up right now.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. The Aggies are up.
Well, let's talk about the Aggies being up, because they got a big one. I do this, like our audience knows I do this, but like I talk myself into so many different potential scenarios, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where these different timelines can happen, right? Branch timelines, where I'm like, oh, A&M's going to crush them by 30. Oh, wait, I've just done some research. I heard from an insider, Miami, they're the best defensive line we faced all year and the best offensive line. Oh my God, they don't turn the ball over. So I'm all over the place. So rational thinking, where are you with this matchup?
Rational thinking, I think this is a very talented team that we're playing. I think that defensively, they're one of the more complete defenses that we're going to play, and I think that we have played this entire year. I think that for us, your assessment of them having a good defensive line and offensive line is accurate, and I think that this game's going to be won in the trenches. And I think I find myself saying that every other week, but ultimately, good teams win up front. I mean, that's how the game is won nowadays, and that's what it takes. So I think for us, we have to establish the run. We have to up front be able to pressure Carson Beck and make him feel chaos. I think that he's shown that this year, that if you're able to rattle him, he makes mistakes, and he, you can force turnovers from him if you're able to pressure him. So for us up front, the game plan seems relatively simple. You got to win at the point of attack. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to give Marcel Reed the chance to feel comfortable in the pocket against your right, a good defensive line, and then defensively, you need your interiors to play some of their best football that they've played all year. I mean, Albert Regis has been a staple at the center of this defensive front. He's got to be an anchor in there. He can't get moved off the line of scrimmage, and then getting Scooby back is a big deal for the linebackers, having some depth there. So him and Damian and Torian have got to play physical football. I think the Aggies are up to the task, man. It's just one of those things that this game is going to be so built on momentum and so built on emotions that you have to come out hot, and you can't get behind the 8 ball against a good team like Miami. You've got to play a full game. Which I feel confident that they're going to do. And I've been seeing some videos of us possibly getting back a really important piece of all this, which is Le'Veon Moss. If he's healthy and he's able to get back into the mix, that's going to be huge for the Aggies this weekend.
Well, I'm glad you brought him up, because OB and I were talking in the first segment. Like, I look at Le'Veon, and coming into this season, he was the number 1 player on the roster, in my opinion, right? And the beauty of what has happened is I still think he can be that player, right? Like, a healthy Le'Veon is absolutely, but you have other players that have reached that same level. I think you can make an argument for KC. You can make an argument for Cassius. So let's just say you've got Craver healthy. You've got Cassius playing at the high level. You've got KC playing at that level we've gotten used to. And now you bring Le'Veon Moss back. What does that do for this offense?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the little, the hopeful, hope this happens scenario. I mean, you think about how this team's been able to spread around the football, and you think about how they've been able to open up the passing attack better than what we've seen at A&M in the past few years. To then, early in the season, losing Le'Veon in the way that we did. Obviously, we are very lucky to have such a deep running back room. And those guys have stepped up, and we haven't really missed a beat in the running game. But you still, you sit there and wonder, man, okay, if Le'Veon was able to be contributing in this room too, what would happen? For me, I look at this as this could be the perfect catalyst for the Aggies offense to explode and be genuinely one of the toughest teams to stop offensively if Le'Veon is, back at his full potential. I mean, the guy's coming off of obviously an ankle injury, but if he's had time to rest and really get it healthy, and maybe that was, these past few weeks when people were hoping he would come back, maybe that was the goal, to have him not just come back as okay, but have him come back at full speed. I mean, you're talking about Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion being nightmares for these guys in the secondary, and them not being able to pack up a box, because if they do, then they're going to get beat over the top. To then having to worry about the physical running attack of Le'Veon Moss, Reuben Owens, EJ Smith. I mean, it really does feel like it could be exactly what the Aggies need to go out there against these top-notch defenses that we're going to have to face if we want to win a national championship, and really go out and put up some points. So I'm feeling hopeful, and I'm feeling confident that this team's going to get it done. And having Le'Veon thrown back into the mix too, it's the perfect timing. I think it's just, we're going to find out really quickly on Saturday what his usage is going to be, and ultimately kind of where he's at health-wise. And that'll really set the tone for the A&M going forwards.
Max, I was on a show recently, and they were asking me what I thought how A&M would win the game. If A&M's able to win the game, I think the playbook looks like this. It may take a little bit of while for them to be able to run the ball in Miami. We've seen that with A&M all season long, and then by the fourth quarter, they have opened the dam. So what I think will happen is they're going to use a bunch of screens and get the ball to KC and to Mario as part of that opening up that run game on the edges. And then it's just going to open up the middle, and that's where the game's going to be won. Do you see a scenario like that playing out?
Yeah. So, okay, I'm glad that you brought that up. You got a good eye. Mario, my favorite way that Coach Klein has utilized him this year has been those wide receiver tunnel screens. I mean, that's for me, whenever I played at A&M and we were playing against Alabama, that was how they always got their playmakers of football in space and just gave them space to work with. You think about Jalen Waddle, you think about Devontae Smith, you think about those guys who are elusive and hard. They're just slippery guys to tackle. That to me is how you make defenses get off their toes and trying to get after the quarterback and make them, okay, if they get this ball out quick here and I don't get down the line to possibly tackle this receiver, this ball is going to go to the house possibly. So, yeah, I think we're going to see Mario be utilized in that way a ton this weekend, especially if he is back fully healthy. Seeing some videos of him in practice, it looks like he is. So that's going to be a huge piece of it. But then I also think that they're going to try and use him for some shots as well. I think with Ashton Butler-Roman possibly not being fully healthy this week, I'm hoping that he is. And seeing the videos, it looks like he's still a little banged up with that lower body injury. I think they're going to use him in a variety of ways. It's going to be all right, hey, you're healthy. We're going to give you a ton of opportunities out on the field this weekend. So Mario's going to be a huge piece, and then they're going to have to find ways to open up the run game, and whether that's screens or whether that's different types of counters or eye misdirection plays. I know Klein's going to have to be really creative to get past this defensive front for Miami, because they are a good defense, but I feel confident that we're going to move football on them.
Max, great stuff, brother. I appreciate you. We'll see you at Caulfield.
Yes, sir.
Gig 'em. Max right here on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Alex Donno from Canes, Locked On Canes. He'll join us to chit-chat a little bit about what Miami expects to do. Right now, if you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're the best. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, the CPA, all on staff, and they take their credentials seriously. And they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel great about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Alex Donno's been on the show many times because A&M's played Miami. This will be the third time in the last 3 years. You can find his work on Locked On Canes and Locked On ACC. Alex, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm happy to be back. And yeah, we've seen A&M a few times. A lot of changes, though. Obviously, different coaches, a lot of different personnel on the A&M side. Same head coach for Miami, but different coordinators, a lot of different personnel. So this one should be fun.
Yeah, Alex, I was listening to your show this morning, and you're not the only one who is shocked by A&M's turnover margin at -7 and their record. So just your thoughts on this, because you've got a Miami team that doesn't turn the ball over, right? But A&M seems to thrive on not forcing turnovers. They get to the quarterback, but that's another area that Miami is very strong at stopping people getting to Carson Beck.
Yeah, I mean, my thought is that winning the turnover margin just historically seems like it's a lot more important for Miami to do than for Texas A&M to do. I think, Miami has done a good job, as you mentioned, taking care of the football this season. They're +9 in turnover margin. There were a couple of, bad interception games for Carson Beck that kind of skewed his numbers up a little bit. But overall, he's taking care of the football. Miami's been good about not fumbling. I mean, it's pretty obvious from the Aggie side. They've been able to, overcome turnovers with a lot of explosive plays and a lot of great defense. So I would say, especially with Miami being on the road, I think there's even more pressure for Miami to take care of the football, that, Miami probably has to win that turnover margin to win the game, and the Aggies maybe don't necessarily have to do that.
Alex, I think it is very important for A&M to get off to a big lead, or to a lead in this game. And not that means anything. We've seen both teams battle back, right? But I do think in this environment, their first ever playoff game for both teams, even though I know Miami's got the national championships, plural, I do think if that stadium is rocking with an A&M lead, 10-0 in the second quarter, that kind of vibe, I think that could really shift the way that the Texas game went in the second half for the University of Texas against A&M.
I think that's the ultimate X factor is, the opportunity that the Aggies have to host a playoff game in one of the toughest environments in the country. I know you got that 12th man banner in your background behind you, and I think that that's going to loom large for this game. So, yeah, I mean, one of my biggest keys on the Miami side is I think Miami has to start fast. I think you want to try to take a little juice away from that crowd, hoping that, that 11 a.m. start time, I don't think it's going to affect them too much. But, maybe if Miami takes, a 10-0 lead, maybe that 11 a.m. we were out late the night before starts to creep in a little bit and you suck some of that energy out. So I think that's important because, obviously with this new playoff format, with teams being able to host games, this is just a big opportunity for Texas A&M for that 12th man to make a difference.
Yeah, and I also think it's interesting. Both teams are some of the most penalized teams in the country. An area that I know that you mentioned on your show that I was kind of marking down as a place to really look at is the false starts. Miami has been really bad with false starts. I can only imagine, I don't know what the biggest stadium is that they played in this year, 60, 80,000, whatever it's been, maybe 90,000, but 108,000 is a little different vibe, especially in that stadium.
Yeah, I think the biggest stadium Miami's played in is around 70K. I don't think they've seen any more than that. And the last time they saw more than 100,000 fans was back in 2022 when they played at College Station. So it's been a minute for that. And so, yeah, I think that, obviously one of the big ways that the environment can hurt Miami would be false start penalties. It's something, again, these are two of the more penalized teams in the country. In this case, A&M has the benefit that you would imagine the crowd's going to be pretty quiet when they have the football. When Miami has the football, they're going to be trying to force those false starts. So it's something I know Miami's coaches are aware of. Offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson talked about it this week. He didn't reveal what the plan is, but he did say it's something that they've been thinking about. So I would imagine you see some form of a silent count, just, something to try to minimize the effect that crowd is going to have. Because there's been times this season when Miami has had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. You can't be giving up 5-yard chunks to false start penalties this Saturday.
Alex, I want to just share a little bit of what I think happened with A&M in their press conferences, because I know it's become a talking point in Miami about Coach Elko saying the what do you call them, the little freshman, I think it was, and obviously we had Trey Zune's commentary. I know those guys. I don't want to speak for Elko, right? Because I don't even think he recognized he said that. But he's been so complimentary of Malachi Toney. He's been so complimentary. I think he just couldn't think of the name in that moment, right?
Yeah.
And coaches sometimes say uniform numbers, jersey numbers. As for Trey Zune, I think he just answered that like he believes in himself. I understand the why. Like all competitors try to use whatever edge. And I don't know. Does Bain have like this book or something of what people have said about him? I heard you talking about that because, in my opinion, he's not going to try any harder. He just may celebrate harder after a sack if that happens. You know?
Yeah, it's something for the fans. And yeah, so Ruben Bain has this like legendary notebook. It's like, I think a lot of us when we were in like middle school, you know, we had these notebooks where we'd doodle on them and we'd write phrases down and stuff. And he keeps this like notebook of receipts, things that opponents say and things that kind of motivate him. And yeah, I think the bulletin board material might be more for the fans than anything. Because like you said, I mean, should Ruben Bain, should Malachi Toney, should they really need any extra reasons to get up for the biggest game that they've played in their collegiate careers? They shouldn't. I think if anything, what has sort of gotten Miami fans' radars up about little things like that have been said is, you have to understand the team that we cover in Miami, there's like an overcompensation where Mario Cristobal is like maniacal about making sure nobody says anything that could be construed as disrespecting an opponent. So I think it becomes Miami goes so far in the other direction that I think anytime you hear a guy like Trey Zune say that they're going to handle Ruben Bain, or like Ruben Owens was saying something that he doesn't see Miami's rushing defense as a challenge. I just think in Miami, we're not used to that because every time you ask a player or coach about the opponent, they build them up like it's 2019 LSU. Like it's just kind of the way that they operate in that building. And it's not the only way to do it. That's just kind of the way that they do it. So I think it kind of puts our radars up. And anytime an opposing player says something that's like, hey, he's not worried about Ruben Bain, I think it gets our attention a little extra.
By the way, Coach Elko, I think, called it the best offense and the best defense A&M has faced all season long when talking about Miami. Wow. So he has said something to that effect. Let's talk about the coaching advantage here. I think that both coaches have done an excellent job redoing a program that hadn't hit their potential, right? Miami, proud program, and Mario's come in and seems to have them back on track. I think Elko in a shorter amount of time has done the same thing. Who do you think has the coaching advantage in this matchup?
I know people will probably lean to Elko if it comes down to, you know, all the stuff that people think Mario Cristobal is bad at, right? When it comes to, you know, key moments on timeouts and going for it on fourth down decisions. You know, I know he's been really working hard to correct some of those things, and I think he delegates a little bit more to assistant coaches and analytic people to help make those decisions. But you know, that's going to be his reputation until he fully gets over the hump. I mean, if Mario can win a game like this, I think that would go a long way. But I think overall it's a really even coaching matchup in a lot of ways. And these two teams are built really similarly. I mean, strong at both lines of scrimmage. You know, two quarterbacks that when they're hot, they're on. When they're cold, things can get ugly, I think, in both directions. And both teams have sensational playmakers in the form of Casey Concepcion, who I'm a huge fan of. I mean, I obviously watched him in the ACC when he was at NC State. Not surprised he's taken things to the next level at A&M. And then on Miami, they have a similar guy in Malachi Toney, who's having a sensational year. So I think all the coordinators have done a great job. So I think this is a really, really even coaching matchup, honestly. And we'll see if it does come down, if it's a really close game, if it comes down to some of those finer in-game decisions.
Health. Both teams seem to be pretty healthy overall. Le'Veon Moss practicing. Hopefully he gets to play for A&M. And I'm reading reports that there's some optimism about Keontae Scott, who might be their best defensive player, or definitely one of their best defensive players.
Yeah, Keontae Scott, I believe he's on track to play. So then the question is going to be, assuming he plays, because I think it's more likely than not he does give it a go. You know, he suffered a toe injury late in the regular season. But I think the question, it's probably the same thing for Le'Veon Moss. Like for Keontae Scott, assuming he plays, how much of a workload can he carry? Like, can he play 40 plus snaps? Because he was one of those horses throughout the regular season where he's on virtually every defensive snap he's out there. Is he able to do that? Does he have kind of a pitch count in this game? I mean, I think the big X factor that Keontae Scott can provide, he's not only excellent in coverage, he's Miami's starting nickel corner, but he's really a deadly weapon on blitzes. Like, he's gotten in the backfield several sacks. There was one point early in the season when he had more sacks than Reuben Bain did. I mean, he can be very dangerous getting into the backfield. So that's something that Miami's really going to look for if Keontae's healthy enough to give it a go and play on Saturday.
Alex, I appreciate the time, my friend. We'll talk to you very soon, all right? Because you know they're going to play
Great
each other
stuff
again.
As always, thank you.
You got it, brother. Take care. Alex Donno there does a great job, Locked on Canes. Listen to his show often, not just today. He does really good work. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short segment. I know that Sid Clevenger's got so much content to get into that we may not be able to fit it in the 90 seconds we're going to have. A moment from Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. You're looking for a new car? Why don't you start your search online, see what they have. If you are into awesomeness, you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They've got great vehicles. They've got great selection. They've got great customer service. You put that all together with the holidays coming around. You got kids that are about to start driving. You've got, you just need to upgrade your vehicle. You just want to get a new one, whatever it may be. Let Caldwell Country Chevrolet take care of you. They've expanded their selection of those heavy and medium-duty trucks, so you'll have a big selection to take a look at. And again, as I've mentioned, it's not a far drive. We're talking 15 minutes, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. Nick Savage.
What's up?
A couple things. I haven't talked to you in a while. I was just checking in. Like, you still love
I'm
football
still here.
and love talking sports?
Yeah, of course.
Just making sure. I just want to make sure. Did you see that? You can Google this for me, Sid. I believe you've taken a new job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
You've seen that bit?
I have seen the bit. I've been texted multiple times, and I apparently tweeted at too.
Is that right?
Somebody tweeted me. Yeah.
Nick Savage has taken the strength and conditioning job at LSU.
Has he?
Google it. I'm not lying to you. Like, for reals.
I think both you and Sydney would agree I'm not physically qualified to take that job.
Really, it's all about mental preparation, Nick. Let's be honest. Like, it's all about here. But the good news is, first off, we're going to hate losing you, Nick. But at least we know Tommy Moffitt isn't going back to LSU. So there is that. So we're happy about that.
My bestie, Lane Kiffin.
So apparently, was I don't know where the other Nick Savage, the fake Nick Savage, where he coached before, maybe it was at Ole Miss. I guess
it was at Ole Miss.
Yeah, he's joining Lane Kiffin to be the strength and conditioning coach at Baton Rouge at LSU.
Oh, there was a mix-up.
There was a mix-up. Well, no, that's his name. His name is Nick Savage.
But some people think it's this Nick Savage.
Some people are tweeting at him. Are LSU fans tweeting at you?
No.
How dare you be our strength coach and also do like director work at TexAgs? That's a conflict of interest.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I'm gonna start a campaign. Everybody tweet at Nick Savage right now about being the LSU strength and conditioning coach and at as many LSU people as possible.
There's apparently an actor named Nick Savage as well.
Holy smokes. Change your name.
If you Googled him, there's some differences there.
What kind of actor is he?
I don't know. Let's see. He was in Friday the 13th.
Okay, like a real actor. Okay.
He was in Fright Night, Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights, quality flick. I thought you were going to say he's a different kind of actor.
I did just come back from New York.
Hey now.
Oh, wait. I get what you're getting at.
We'll be back with Jason Howell. Hey, everybody. Welcome into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank, the only privately owned bank headquartered in Bryan, College Station. American Momentum Bank is committed to helping our community prosper by offering you a wide array of personal and business banking solutions specifically designed to help build financial success with confidence and momentum on your side. And with that, we go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Jason Howell. This is what I can say about Jason Howell. Richard Zane is known as the grand corrector, right? Like when we make mistakes, he'll text me during the show, and it's great because we need it. So will Jason Howell. Jason Howell will answer any movie question I have, like on the show if I just bring up or any like pop culture. Jason Howell's on top of it. He's a recruiting analyst, but he's a guy who knows all.
Well, I don't know about all, but I try, 80s, 90s, early 90s movies, Breakfast Club, Top Gun, that kind of stuff. That's my wheelhouse, man. I love all that stuff. So I'm definitely going to contribute where I can.
Well, I asked the staff earlier, it came up organically about the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Please tell me. They didn't know what I was talking about.
The triple lending. I heard it.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Have you ever done a triple lending?
No. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had the opportunity. And if that would be an epic fail. That would be a viral video waiting to happen, I think.
When's the last time you went on one of those big diving boards that are super, you know what I'm talking about, like the triple lending style of diving board, not like a backyard diving board, like up top?
The last time I jumped off a cliff in Hawaii, that was about, 8 years ago.
You jumped off a cliff?
6 years. Yeah.
How do you know there's not rocks on the under? Like that'll.
Well, I took a chance. There were a bunch of teenage kids doing it, so I figured, why not? Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. It looked fairly safe. People were, swimming around down there. I figured, what's the worst that could happen?
Death.
Right?
Immediate death, like immediate, like families like gotta like call. Oh my God, Jason! Oh my God, there's his ear.
Yeah, me and Christine both did it. It took. It wasn't exactly a natural thing, but it worked out. We survived, and it was actually a fun little footnote to our Hawaii story.
Well, I'm asking our audience to not do what a lot of people were probably already thinking about doing. It's going to AI and showing a video of Jason doing that. Like, because right now AI, I've seen lions eat humans and deer run through. This AI thing is out of control. But let's not lose all of our viewers and listeners. Go ahead.
I think I have a Facebook video of it somewhere. So,
let's stalk Jason's Facebook page so we can make some fun AI videos. State championship Wednesday through Saturday. I know that you and Bronny are going to be heavily involved. Let's just kind of talk a little bit about it. What are some of the matches you're covering?
Yeah, we'll be there Thursday through Saturday. Today, you've got the 6-man division, 1A schools going at it at 11 and 2. And then you've got the 2A Division I matchup between Hamilton and Joaquin that's set to kick off tonight. But tomorrow, you really get into some of those matchups. You got Munster and Shiner, a rematch from last year, one of two that are back on the slate this year. And then you've got Grandview, Yoakum, and Wall and Newton. There's some really fun ones in those lower school levels. Some prospects that maybe we haven't talked about as much. Like Newton is putting up a ton of points. They've got a freshman quarterback, 6'1", 185 pounds, that's leading the way for them. And then they've got a really dynamic running back as well in the 27 class. That's going to be one to watch. And of course, Carthage, West Orange Stark on Friday is going to be a matchup that a lot of people are going to want to check in for with two Texas A&M commits. Carthage going for what I think Scott Surratt's going for his 11th state championship ring.
Wow.
So yeah, he is that machine they've got going on down there. Undefeated this fall. KJ Edwards has looked as dynamic and you know, just special as you would expect. And DeQuivius Beck has come back from hamstring and really picked things up the last few games, and they've got something rolling. West Orange Stark has one of the more fun players you'll see. Oh gosh, let me find his name here, but he is 5'3", 150-pound running back, right? And
5'3"?
He's rushed 5'3". Yeah, 5'3". Kelvy Jefferson, 5'3", 150 pounds. I want to say he's got like a 550-pound squat. 2027 running back, over 2,700 all-purpose yards and 34 touchdowns this fall. So he'll be a fun one to watch. And of course, the big schools. You've got several big matchups that we'll be looking forward to on Friday and Saturday, and it's going to be me and Kay Drahan down in Arlington, and he actually has tickets to the playoff game, so he'll be there on Saturday. He'll be back in College Station. I will take command as the lone reporter on the scene for TexAgs at state championships on Saturday, and I get the pleasure of watching covering South Oak Cliff Randall at the very same time as A&M's playoff game. It may be a bit spotty, I'm not going to lie, but I'll be tuned into both, I'm sure, as we watch two heavyweights in 5A Division II the second of those two repeat matchups from last fall. So should be a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of Cade, I know he's done a really good job, so I'm excited to see him get to go on this trip, and only because Bronny put it up on the board. So congratulations to Ryan and to Ashley on the birth of their son, Bo, over the weekend. So congratulations to them. Bronny, you're on the team, man. Fatherhood team. It's a great team to be a part of. So, you know, that he's going to be splitting some time being a dad and obviously doing his show. I think he's coming back to do the B team later on today. So congratulations to Bronny and the family. Jason, so you're covering these guys. When you, at this point where we're now getting knee deep into the 27s, right? Do you start like making your mental notes like, oh, here's a guy that I hadn't thought of at this level that I could see catch A&M's attention?
Like some of the smaller school guys?
Yes.
Like, absolutely, yeah. I mean, shoot, right now we're seeing Sarad Baker's been a big story across Texas high school football and garnering a lot of national headlines. Recently picked up Oregon and Ohio State. He was kind of a backup, more of a utility guy for DeSoto last year. You know, they had Tiger Ryden and Myson Johnson Cook, who transferred to East St. Louis, and he has been on a tear. I mean, it is ridiculous what he's done. I want to say last week he had 366 rushing yards. He's averaging over 10 yards a carry. In the playoffs, he's over, I think, 1,600 rushing yards in now 5 playoff games. So he's just doing some pretty remarkable 1,500 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns. In the playoffs so far, and he's also got some big things going receiving wise. But yeah, you're always looking for guys, especially at those lower levels. Last year, we got to see Jarvis Williams from Shiner come in and really shine as a freshman. I'm looking forward to seeing the Newton kid, both of them that I know I know the running back's already got a few offers, and the freshman, he's got some tools that I'm sure that seem promising. Like he could be somebody attracting attention down the road. There's a running back out of Yoakum that's a freshman that he's got the best nickname I've seen out of the whole pool, Black Magic. He's a 29 out there that's been phenomenal, has been clocked at 4.49 in the 40. So you see these guys that in person that you may not have seen yet, or but yeah, you're always looking for guys to kind of jump off, and we see it year in year out where a guy will step forward and really make a name for himself. It's a great stage for these young men to really step into and make themselves known.
So you put in the notes to chat about, and I just want to go a little deeper into Duncanville North Shore, because when I was in Houston doing television, that was kind of a yearly occurrence, right? So this is the sixth time in 8 years. I believe, I could be wrong here, I believe North Shore has more. Am I right about that, or am I wrong?
Yeah, North Shore took the first 3.
Okay.
And Duncanville's taken the last 2. And so we'll see what happens this year. I picked Duncanville to get the win. I got to see them against Waxahachie, and they've got a ton of talent. Of course, North Shore is led by Caleb Maryland, Utah State signee, and they've been doing some North Shore things. So I expect it to be a knockdown, drag out. Every time these two face, it seems to go down to the wire, the last possession, the final few minutes, and I don't expect it to go any other way this fall. As you know, it's a lot of pride on the line for both of these teams.
Am I right? I think, was it 21? I might be wrong here, but there was the last second touchdown, right? Am I right about that?
Yes. What was his name? The quarterback. He ended up signing with Auburn. Demetrius. Oh my goodness. But he was. He was. He unloaded and hit his man in the back corner of the end zone as the clock hit 0. Just one of the most exciting, crazy, innings you'll ever see in any level of football. To win it all, a Hail Mary. And that was what year was that? Was that I think that was 20? Yeah, I think it was that may have been 2018. That may have been the first matchup.
Oh wow, it was that far back? Okay. Yeah. Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. Jason, let's talk about the portal, because these coaches are focused on making sure that A&M can keep winning, and hopefully they beat Miami and go on for a long playoff run. But you've got to start thinking about next year's roster. So kind of tell us the timeline on how things kind of play out and how you think the portal is going to look.
Well, I think we've talked about it quite a bit. Getting help on the trenches is something I think Luch and Bronny have both talked about, and that's something I think we expect to see as they dive into the prospects and everything. Right now, I think it's more of a evaluation stage. Nobody has actually, officially jumped into the portal. There's been a lot of declarations like, I'm going to jump into the portal, but the portal opens on the 2nd of January, and that's when you'll start to see the real bullets fly. I expect their A&M to be right there in the middle of it, even during the playoffs. It could, if A&M's still playing, you could potentially see them hosting portal visitors. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but you could potentially see that going on while they're trying to do playoff, prep. So it'll be interesting with all that dynamic going on. But opens up and on the 2nd, and I think you're looking maybe a big dynamic receiver. Looking at running back possibilities, offensive line, defensive line, and I think tight end is another spot that I know Luch has talked about potentially seeing a lot of attention. So it's going to be a hectic time, and really that's early January is when I really expect to see the names and all that A&M's really involved with really start to pick up.
Well, Jason, how different do you think the vibe is now with the phone calls, right? Because 2 years ago, like, hey, this is what I can do. Last year, this is a step in what we're doing. And this year, there's, hey, we're a playoff team. So I would assume that maybe the volume or the kind of, they can be a little bit more selective, A, and B, the volume of calls probably is a little bit bigger.
Well, let's just look at receiver. I mean, last year the narrative was Marcel Reed can't throw the football, and A&M's offense can't get their receivers the ball with the ability to make some plays. That narrative is gone. Marcel Reed is a Heisman contender going into next fall. And the offense under Holman Wiggins, the development, as well as what they've done with the transfer receivers, I mean, it's remarkable. The production from whether it's ABR or it's Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. I mean, those are bullets that A&M didn't have last year. It was a lot of selling promise, and this year it's look at what we're doing and look what you can walk into. And that's just at receiver. Offensive line, I think, and on down the line. But like you said, they've got a lot of people, I think, that are going to be reaching out to them and trying to see how they can make their way to College Station as opposed to the other way around, and just to be a part of what Elko's building.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with more with Jason Howell on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Right now, we're talking Rollo Insurance. It's the insurance company that I use and many folks here at TexAgs use. They have been with TexAgs for a very long time, but they are the official insurance provider of this program. And the difference is real with Rollo Insurance, 60 offices in the great state of Texas. Their headquarters is right here in College Station on Highway 6. And I know how it is for folks that live in the Bryan-College Station area. That matters, right? Like dealing with folks in the market matters to you. Because it just feels different when they can relate to your situation. You see them out at church, you see them out at the HEB or wherever you may go. That's Jason Jackson and the team, right? As OB says, Jason Jackson and the boys, right? You got Keith there, you got Morgan, you got a great crew at Rollo Insurance that are going to take great care of you. You're going to get their phone number, they're going to know your specific situation, and they're going to take amazing care of you. The website is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Or call them up 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. We are back here on TexAgs Live. It's still continuing on with Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. We go back to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jason, let's talk about the 27 class. What do we have? 8 commits so far?
Yeah, 8 commits, 6 on defense, 3 Texas high school prospects. You got an All-American quarterback committed and Jace Johnson. Just picked up a stud edge rusher in Caden McCarty. The ball is rolling. The momentum is rolling strong on the 27 recruiting class.
Remind the folks about Caden McCarty, just the kind of player that he is.
Yeah, he brings that twitch off the edge. He's in that Cassius Howell, Von Miller-esque kind of mold. Compare him to Tristan Givens in the 26 recruiting class. And he's a double-digit sack guy this fall, and he's just been a terror off the edge out there at Cy Falls.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, let's talk about some of the other prospects, because I know A&M is in on a lot of top guys, and where they are with them, who some of the names are, and what it could look like over the next couple of weeks, months.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some things pick up once the dead period kind of comes to a close, and you see recruiting events happen towards the end of January. I know A&M is really working already to kind of get some things going there. But running back, you got Landon Williams-Callis, you got in-state, you've got receiver Trey Moore, Caden Scott. That offensive line group in state is just a special group. A&M's very, very involved with several of the top guys. Caden Scott, he's already said that he's planning to be in College Station on January 17th, I think. And you've got Ismail Kamara, Kennedy Brown, Brian Swanton, that A&M is very high on their list and their top few favorites as they kind of look at their options. And then, on the defensive side, you've got right now A&M is really going hard on the defensive side of the ball. John Meredith, cornerback, 5-star out of Euless Trinity. A&M has been trending with him, towards the very top of his list, with several other, national powers also involved. You got Cooper Witten, a guy that maybe probably the next, the next addition. Maybe we'll see. This guy's got a commitment date coming up on Saturday. Miles Smith out of Los Angeles. He's out of Inglewood. Miles Smith. He 6'3", 295. He's got a final 6, I believe. A&M has been trending towards the top with him, and he visited for the South Carolina game. But that's something to watch out for maybe Saturday with some big news there out of Inglewood.
Jason, you expect some of these events to start ramping up, I guess, back in starting in January?
Yeah. I think I think Caden Scott said something about January 17th. I think that's potentially a date for a junior day. But hey, that could also change if we're talking about some pretty significant things happening with A&M football. So, I think towards the end of January, you'll really start to see a lot of these guys making it to campus with A&M looking to build on that foundation.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, Jason, you guys are going to be busy also with All-American games coming up.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them here. You've got January 3rd, you've got the Under Armour game down in Florida. And on January 10th, you've got the Navy Bowl out in San Antonio. Used to be the Army Bowl, now it's the Navy Bowl. And you've got a lot of commits in both of those games. Now they can invite underclassmen. So you're seeing a lot of the underclassmen getting involved with the Under Armour game. You've got you've got 126 signee and Samu Moala that's planning to be out there. But then you have, let's see, five 27 commits in that game. Jace Johnson, Cade McCarty, Raylan Henry, Kamari Dorsey, Jaquan Snell. And there's a ton of other guys, other targets that are planning to be there as well in Orlando. And then in San Antonio, you've got a lot of the 26 signees. You've got Aaron Gregory, Jaden Warren, Madden Williams, all those receivers going to be out there looking to turn some heads and do some big things on the national stage. Bryce Perry Wright, who just won a state championship, and Tristan Givens, who claimed a state championship last night. They'll both be out there on the defensive line for the E squad. And then Brandon Arrington and 27 commit Demarion Johnson's also slated. But you've got a number of other targets beyond those commits and signees that are going to be fun to watch and keep track of while we're out in San Antonio.
Jason, let's just give a quick timeline for the rest of 25, what we can expect from a recruiting standpoint, just some of the events / some things to watch out for the last 2 weeks.
Well, right now it's we're watching the Miles Smith announcement on Saturday. We'll see what happens. There could be a few other guys that decide to go ahead and make commitments during the month of December, but there's not any other dates that are currently on the radar just yet. Outside of that, it's getting ready for the portal and kind of tracking some of these names that are announcing that they're jumping in. And we saw yesterday, I think it was all the quarterbacks, with Lagway and Sorsby and all those guys jumping in the portal made some big headlines. So we'll continue to watch some of those names and see what see what A&M's going to do and try and do some preliminary work as the portal starts to open.
Jason, great work, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Jason Howell here on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. All right, when we come back, Peter Burns, he likes the SEC. He works for the SEC Network. He works for ESPN. We'll have him on the other side. Right now, Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces. They have a mission to build a healthy community around nature, and they've done so. When you go there, it's awesome. 2,600 acres of open space. You've got the 30 miles of trails. They want to connect families to nature and to each other. When you go there, throw the ball, flag kite. I haven't done that since I was 7. But you can do that with your kids. It'll be awesome. You can jump rope. You can climb trees. You can fish. You can do it all. You can go hiking, biking, canoeing, all the great things you can do outdoors. And you should do it outdoors and spend time with your family out there. And that's a great place to do it. They want to provide a natural setting for people to connect and come together. You can check out the website to learn more. That's millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Peter Burns from the SEC Network joining us. Chit-chat a little bit about the playoffs this weekend. Of course, A&M's chances against Miami. PB, what up?
I am. It's just weird. I mean, we got college football on a Friday night. We got the doubleheader on Saturday. I'm still, in my feelings about that game being an 11 a.m. kickoff at Kyle Field, but I'm pumped, man. Like this is, this is the last time we'll probably ever have a 12-team playoff. So I guess maybe we need to be nostalgic about this thing.
Do you think it actually will move up next year that quickly? You think it'll be next year that goes to 16?
I think so. And, remember they originally had set a December 1st date to decide on what they were going to do for the college football playoff. And they decided, all right, let's kick that back to January the 23rd, which is a couple days after the national championship, which only made sense, right? Give it a little time. Let's see how this whole thing plays out. And, again, I think the whole thing itself it's a tough format to grab, right? Because whenever they put it together, we're talking about 2021 is when they came up with kind of the idea of a 12-team playoff. Well, back then, the Pac-12 was there. Back then, the ACC didn't have 17 members. The Big Ten didn't have 18 members. And so that format made sense, but since conference realignment, since Texas and OU entered the SEC and Big Ten expanded, I think it's all changed. And they made the mistake last year of going by the old format and that's why the seeding was messed up. So they at least fixed the seeding. And I think now they're going to get to a point where these conferences are so big, you're going to have a lot of 9-3 and 10-2 teams that actually could win games with how much parity there is in college football. And I think they ultimately will expand the field.
Peter, let's talk about this matchup with Miami and where you think A&M has an obvious advantage beyond Kyle Field. Obviously, that's a huge advantage for them. But just do you see several areas, one area? Where do you think A&M's got the advantage?
Yeah, I think one of them is the fact that, having a mobile quarterback is everything in college football. Carson Beck is really one of the only examples that you can bring to the table of a team that's in the field right now that does not have a quarterback that has a lot of mobility. And when it comes down to it, that's fine. You don't necessarily need to have one of those quarterbacks that are that fleet of foot, unless you're facing a defensive front that can disrupt the pocket up the middle. And that's exactly what Elko's squad can do right now. So, to me, that's the biggest advantage of trying to get Carson Beck, kind of off schedule for him. And, that's when it's going to be Cassius. That's when it's going to be, up to this defense that really not necessarily bring it from the edges, but bring it up the middle. I mean, I talk to guys all the time here at the SEC Network and like McElroy and all these quarterbacks we've had. I said, what's the biggest issue? They're like, it's honestly not the edge rush. It's the rush that comes from inside that gets you have to go in a different direction than you were planning. And, I think that's the biggest advantage that A&M has to take advantage of early in this game.
One of the things that everybody's focused on here is if you get Le'Veon Moss back, what that does for that offense. I know Miami's really good at stopping the run, but A&M's got multiple ways to attack them. I think that goes along with, some of those advantages. How much of a factor do you think Le'Veon can play if he's healthy? Because he hasn't played in so long.
Yeah, I think, I'm not too worried about ball security or anything like that. And I would imagine he's been around practice enough and he's played enough. And he never really showed a lot of signs of not being able to get in helping in pass pro or pass protection. So, I think it's just another, person up. And I almost, look at it as like a jolt from the crowd as well, too. Think about it. What a tough season it's been for him not being able to be out there. But one of the reasons why we thought A&M was going to be good this year was him. So, it's almost one of those deals where, hey, if you get kind of in a lull that you kind of bring the guy out and I wouldn't expect the world from him, but hey, give him a couple opportunities, give an opportunity for everybody to get rested right there. And hey, all hands on deck because, the season's on the line.
One of the recipes that A&M has had for most of the season, if not all the season, is, when they are in these tight games, they find a way to just destroy or, break the backs of their opponents in the fourth quarter. Do you think this is one of those games that, it's going to be tight and the fourth quarter is going to determine the winner?
No, I mean, frankly, and maybe that's the homer in me, is the fact that I think Miami is good, but I don't think that they've been tested nearly as much as A&M has. And yes, maybe A&M ultimately got the kind of the better end of the scheduling format this year as far as what teams they played. It's still the damn SEC. Right. I mean, it's still battle tested each and every week. I don't know if you saw the interview a couple of weeks ago with David Pollack and Caleb Downs, the former Alabama safety who turned out to be, all world over at Ohio State. And he was asking, hey, what's the biggest difference between SEC and Big Ten football? And he's like, well, the Big Ten, we got, 2 or 3 games we really need to get up for. And he goes, every single game in the SEC is one of those games. And that's him talking about the Big Ten, which I think is ultimately stronger than the ACC. I mean, listen, I think Miami is a good team. I just think the playmakers and the attitude that Elko takes into that, that's a guy that I want to trust. And I think that's a huge part of the coaching match. I think this is a mismatch right now or a great matchup for A&M. Because I've seen Mario Cristobal, I hate to say it, but kind of puke over himself in some bad late decisions as the head coach. I'm not quite sure if he's there when it comes to the same way that Elko kind of trusts his squad in his decision making in big games.
How concerned are you with Marcel Reed's turnovers here late in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Marcel, I think it's a matter of watching him play in that second half against South Carolina made me realize, listen, it may be bad, but there's also a Superman version of him there. The difference is the positive aspect of it, right? I mean, I think you needed a game or at least a half of football to kind of wipe that away late and to be like, all right, that's not who I am. Like in golf, all of a sudden you start hitting it sideways. All you can think about is, dude, I'm hitting it off the map. I can't get the ball in the fairway. And it's not until you stop thinking that you actually just go back to your instincts. And that's where it's going to help that you have Craver, that you have Casey Concepcion, that Le'Veon is back. Like, I'm sure Elko told those guys at halftime of the South Carolina game, hey, this is not the Marcel Reed show. We're not a one-trick pony here. This is not, Manziel back in the day. This is like, just play within your means, and we got one of the best damn talented rosters in the country. So I'm not concerned, and I still, at the end of the day, I think if I'm Elko, I let that be known that the only way we lose that game, like the person who's going to make the mistakes is Carson Beck, and we're going to force that. And we know that Marcel is going to play within his reach. And if he needs to get aggressive, we'll let him be aggressive, but pick and choose your spots rather than right from the jump.
Peter, one of the things that drives Coach Elko crazy is talking about the past. It has no bearing on what's happening right now. Has A&M elevated their program enough that the past isn't, it's still a huge roadblock, or does it really matter what they do in this first playoff game to get past that in the past?
It means nothing. It's complete BS. And I'm glad that he said that. And that's one of the reasons why I loved Elko right from the jump is the fact that he's like, yeah, I appreciate you guys asking about this, but none of that matters. And especially in this transfer portal world, David, like half of these guys, didn't maybe start their career there, or they don't understand, kind of that quote unquote, battered Aggie syndrome or the 8-4. Throw that crap. I nearly curse right now. Throw that all out of the equation. That means nothing, because it means nothing to Miami. It means nothing to Mario Cristobal or Carson Beck or Ruben Bain and those guys. So again, I think that's the mentality that they needed to have. And that's why I've said that I don't think there's a program in the country that is fit for more success than A&M right now, because you have a chance to exercise all of these demons, and you haven't been to, the mountaintop yet. And Elko has an opportunity to take this team where it's never been before.
Well, PB, along those lines too, when you think about transfer portal, look, big programs get big-time players. That's what's happening. But getting the right big-time players to join your program and fit, that's a different thing. And it feels like Coach Elko, his first couple seasons, has hit home runs with the transfers. From Armaje Reed-Adams to Cassius Howell to Casey Concepcion to Mario Craver. And those guys, I've said it on this show multiple times, feel like Aggies, even if they've only been here for a season or two.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between Jimbo. When Jimbo was so concerned about catching Nick Saban in these number one recruiting classes that it was hey, we're recruiting rankings versus what's a good fit. A&M now is going to be, as let's say, competitive wages along with everybody, right? Like, you're not going to pretty much quote unquote outspend A&M, but what you're also going to do is provide an environment right there that, that it's a little bit better than it was 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, you got guys that were just doing it for the money, and you didn't care who they were. You're going to pay them because you want to get them, at the forefront of winning the quote unquote recruiting battles. Well, now I think it's more buttoned up. I think that when you give a player this amount of money, you're going to do more due diligence on who that person is, how much of that cap space it's going to eat up, how much more money do you have, and you got to make sure that you're grabbing the right guy. Because if you're going to go pay $200,000 for a player, like, you can't afford to just whiff. You used to be able to whiff back in the day because then it ends up just being a scholarship and, it's no big deal, or a couple of dollars under the table. Now that's your salary cap. And that's why, having a good GM, having a good collective, all rowing in the same direction like A&M, and the sky's the limit.
Peter, last thing for you, the Alabama-Oklahoma game. Does Oklahoma do it for the third straight time, or does Bama have one final act for Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're banged up. I'm not buying the fact that Ty Simpson's 100% healthy. He didn't look right in Atlanta, and I know they're going to get Jam Miller back. I think they get Cuevas back, which is a monster part that they didn't have healthy over the last couple of weeks. I still think there's something about Venables in this defense, Oklahoma, and the fact that I think we're going to see more of a comfortable John Mateer at home than we saw over the last couple of weeks. So I think it's the turkey. I think it's 3 in a row. Venables goes 3-0 against Kalen DeBoer, and then it's going to be very interesting. I still think he's there at Alabama, but when you hear the kind of the way he's parsed his words and even the statements, I don't think it's more than 10%, but I still think that there's a chance the Michigan job is still kind of weighing on him right now.
PB, I appreciate it, man. Enjoy your week.
Enjoy the hell out of Saturday.
Yeah,
God, I'm so damn jealous. I mean, send Lucci's jet, and I'll make it over there for the game.
Merry Christmas, brother. Talk to you soon.
Later, bud.
Later. Yeah. Peter Burns here on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Daily Company, a family-owned, licensed, and insured business. They offer HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and generator services. That's available to you, 247-365. HVAC-wise, they got the thermostat repairs. They've got the refrigerant leaks. They got the furnace failures. You've got the seasonal tune-ups. Plumbing-wise, leak repairs, clog drains, water heater installation, maintenance to keep those pipes in the top shape, electrical wiring and outlet repairs, upgrades for safety and efficiency. And when it comes to generators, they'll repair them, they'll get them fixed, and they'll get them ready to roll just in case there is a power outage. They serve all of Bryan College Station, Houston, and Austin. They have upfront prices with no surprises. What you need to do is contact the Daily Company at 979-260-2020, 979-260-2020, or visit them at godaily.com to experience the daily difference. I'm shocked by this. So the Dreyer must have been out partying late last night, yawns in studio, and then her face has got like tears rolling down her eyes. And the two ladies in the studio are like, yeah, that happens when you... Nick, have you ever yawned and cried?
No, I don't think so.
I'm crying because I'm sleepy, like I want to sleep, but like that was a straight... Sorry.
My eyes watered. I literally just
It
yawned
looked
and my
like
eyes
you were
watered.
like very upset about something.
No,
Whatever it was, I'm sorry. Okay?
I just have watery eyes.
All right, you really want to get to Around Aggieland
Yeah.
and stop this attention on
Yeah.
you. So we're going to keep going. Just kidding. What do you have for us?
So yeah, we've been talking about football all morning, so I'm going to continue with it. Casey Concepcion, Cassius Howell, and Armajé Reed Adams earned Associated Press All-America honors, as Concepcion and Howell earned first-team selections, and Armajé received second-team recognition. And moving on to our great volleyball team, number 3 seed Texas A&M volleyball team handed the number 1 overall seed Nebraska their first home loss since November 2022 in 5 sets. And this marked the Aggies' second win over a number 1 team and first in 30 years. Logan Lednicki recorded her 21st consecutive game with 10 or more kills, which makes her now number 3 in career kills. Anna Kazakpala climbed to number 2 on the program's career block list. And on Thursday, the girls will take on Pitt in the first ever Final Four in program history. And then last thing I have, Texas A&M men's basketball had a high-scoring night to take down Jacksonville 112-75. This was the 4th time this year that the Aggies scored 100 points. Texas A&M had 6 players with double-digit points in the best shooting night of their season, hitting 42 of 71 from the field and 12 of 25 from 3.
Great stuff, Kaylee. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't cry anymore. Please. All right? The crying, drying. Sorry, I couldn't even come up with a way to make it rhyme. Hey, Sid, close us out with some good stuff here in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, going back to volleyball, I want to recognize Kendall Stowers for earning a spot on the 2025 academic all-district team. So well deserving. She's incredible on and off the court. I actually saw one of her TikToks of her studying for finals on the way to the Sweet 16.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I think it's incredible how student athletes balance everything. But she truly represents what it means to be a student athlete with her 3.97 GPA and leader of her team after her 25 kills took down number 1 Nebraska. And also, she was just named AVCA All-American second team, along with first team Afena Kazapala, second team Logan Lednicki, and third team Maddie Walk.
Great stuff. Appreciate you very much. All right, it's a fun show. Is it awkward whenever you're done, you're just standing there wondering like when I can walk out? Is it?
No, I'm just hoping that Nick doesn't show my boards.
You would never do that. Anyway, great job, everybody. Thank you to all of our guests on the program today. Our guest included Peter Burns. Why did I look at you for approval? Peter Burns was on the show. Olin Buchanan, believe it or not, was on the show today. Kay Naegeli, live from Kansas City. Volleyball Love. John Harris, Max Wright, Alex Donno, the Miami Insider. All good stuff. And Jason Howell and his pop trivia, or pop culture trivia, I should say. And PB, as I mentioned. Great stuff. Tomorrow on the program, got the fan show, guys. Yeah, I know. It's one of those days. I just got to do it. Apologize to everybody. AT, if he doesn't duck out again. Speaking of duck, we've got Stephen McGee and Ryan Swope. That is brought to you by Duck Camp. They'll be on the show. And we're working on maybe DeMontre Moore. So we'll get into all that. My thanks to everybody watching, viewing, listening, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for watching TexAgs Live. We will see you all mañana.